What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Cocteau Twins, and we're returning to the 1985 EP, Echoes in a Shallow Bay. Luca, have you decided what you're going to do? Apparently not yet. But once again, big shout out to Mr. Solo for sharing the Cocteau Twins material, as well as to Doug, who gave me a copy of Treasure. Please don't knock everything down. That's the one thing I ask. Are you coming up? Okay. And as I've done in almost every reaction this morning, I do have to mention that from Monday to maybe Thursday or Friday, I'm going to be doing a lot of classical reactions, classical days, which is to say the regular deep dives and journeys will be on brief, temporary hold, but by the time we get to Friday or maybe Saturday, I'll be back to regular journeys and regular deep dives, so bear with me if you would. In any case, the next tune on this EP is Pale Clouded White, which once again I'm going to assume is a species of moth or butterfly. Maybe I'm more inclined in this case to think moth. But it also gives us a color palette reference, meaning a pale clouded white is one which is not bright and gleaming white, but a softer and maybe mixed or marbled white. So I do wonder whether, if it is a species of winged creature, whether that is the hue that they have on their wings or otherwise. So that's my thought in advance. But again, even beyond the specific biological reference, I certainly get a sense for the intensity and palette of color. Have you decided whether you're going to sit in the chair or sit down? It would be helpful. Nope, you're not going to be helpful. So yes, let's give it a listen, and I guess Luca will just have to figure out one way or another what she's going to do. Are you now going to the chair? I think she is going to make her move for the chair. If I move the Shakespeare mug. Yes. Okay, so this is Cocteau Twins. The track is Pale Clouded White, and it's from their 1985 album Echoes in a Shallow Bay. that's an instant favorite. I really enjoyed that. Sonically, there's so much to say. Okay, first of all, it was actually like a suite of sounds, though like one seemed to be more common than a couple of the others, but they really put an emphasis on the echoes in A Shallow Bay because they were these echoic, like one of them sounded like whale song, another one was very ghostly, one was even higher and had this like ethereal celestial sound. So there were these melodic strokes or sweeps which had a almost living sound to them. Again, it was like whale song, it was like this plaintive cry in woodwind, or again like a melodic form that transgressed a simple instrumental sound and almost had this vital, if also mournful, quality. And yet the center of the tune has this very focused and driving drum rhythm with, I think, like a keyboard rhythm, which again had a bit of a forte and very narrow, like not echoic and spacious. Indeed, the melodies in this one were spacious, but the percussion and the rhythm had a very direct and focused or concentrated type of sound. And then you have Fraser's vocals, which again, it sounds like she's not singing in English, and it was less obviously Latin here compared to the previous track, but I still feel like maybe she was saying phrases in Latin, whether or not it's, the description of, like, Linnaean descriptions of caterpillars, butterflies, or moss. But yes, it felt like it was non-English at the very least, and her vocals had this, as they often do, transcendent or ethereal quality, but the way it all came together was really compelling. It was both, again, like concentrated but diffuse, energetic and driving, even as it was ethereal and transcendent. And I feel like a couple of the sonic layers really trace back to the album title overall. I felt like I was listening to this echoic and spacious music in this bay where maybe butterflies and moss of a pale clouded variety were concentrated. So yeah, just a really enveloping and entrancing tune, even if I don't quite know what she's saying. So yes, I feel like I've said that many times with their music, but this one, like, it really hit me strongly. It was one of my favorites I've heard from them so far. Curious to hear what people have to say. Let me know. And Luca, the now placid and tranquil cat, we'll see you next time. Peace.